It's Rafe. It is Rafe.
I am a taparoo.
We should take our shoes off. You want to take our shoes off?
That's a genius idea.
See, that's why I'm here, you guys. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Good evening, and welcome to the Autism Blogcast Special Report. I'm Jim Mancini.
And I'm Rafe Bernier. We're tirelessly going to bring you the latest in autism news and information.
Sleep. It's something that we all need, and it's something that is often difficult for people with autism and their families. This blogcast, we're going to be reporting on the latest findings around sleep and autism. Did you know that between 44 and 86% of people with autism struggle with some type of sleep disturbance?
Yeah, indeed. And what I know also is that what's most commonly reported is difficulty falling asleep. That's followed by challenges with bedtime resistance, as well as parasomnias.
Mm-hmm. Parasomnias, you mean like sleepwalking and nightmares?
Yeah, exactly, right. Exactly. So also, parents report challenges with early morning awakenings, daytime sleepiness, and sleep-disordered breathing, although we see those with less frequency than the earlier issues. What we do know is that children with autism tend to show all of these types of sleep disorders much more commonly than typically developing children. And these sleep problems, they persist into adolescence and adulthood.
So what are the causes of sleep disturbance in autism? We think that it has an underlying medical issue. There's a connection between sleep difficulties and things like seizures, attention issues like ADHD, hyperactivity, and anxiety, as well as a decrease in melatonin production.
Right, but all of these findings they're nuanced, right? Mm-hmm. So for example, there have been several reports indicating that melatonin production is reduced in children with autism, but there are other reports suggesting that there's no reduction in melatonin. So it's complicated. Mm-hmm. As well, we know that seizures, while more commonly occurring in autism, don't occur for all children with autism. How that relates to sleep is that seizures tend to increase during sleep, as well as are exacerbated by lack of sleep. Mm-hmm. Similarly, we see gastrointestinal disturbances in a large number of children with autism, but not everyone. Most commonly, we see constipation and reflux. Now, both of these disorders, they're exacerbated by laying down, so that can play a part in sleep. Similarly, we see increased rates of anxiety and depression for many children with autism, and those disorders also bring with them sleep challenges. Right. And the medications used to treat those also sometimes have side effects and can impact sleep. Similarly, the stimulants used to treat ADHD, which we commonly see in autism, stimulants can impact sleep and reduce your ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. Mm-hmm. And finally, a restricted diet can sometimes impact iron levels, and reduced iron levels can lead to restless leg syndrome, which impacts sleep.
Right. So, what are the consequences of sleeplessness? We know that it has an impact on learning, and it's not just due to fatigue or daytime sleepiness. Decreased sleep results in decreased attention, concentration, memory, as well as difficulties with executive functionings like problem solving. It also is implicated in mood disorders, so you can have increased agitation, emotional regulation, and depression. Mm-hmm. And finally, there is an increase in behavioral difficulties such as tantrums or hyperactivity when we're not sleeping well.
Right, and what happens to the family members of these kids who aren't sleeping?
Absolutely. So if we remember, if you're a parent and you have an infant, if you remember that period of your life, we remember that lack of sleep is sort of like a slow, painful torture. And imagine doing that for 18 years or all the way into adulthood. So when kids aren't sleeping, parents aren't sleeping either.
Right. So what can weary parents do? Well, first step is to get a medical evaluation to evaluate the presence of these commonly co-occurring conditions, as well as some parents opt for a sleep study.
Right. Another good thing is to evaluate your environment. So thinking about the sensory environment of light or noise or temperature in the room. Another really good idea is to establish a really consistent bedtime routine that could include some sort of visual schedules, as well as what we think of as social stories, which really are just allowing for predictability and routine as you're getting ready for bed.
Right. So thinking about bedtime routines, do you have a bedtime routine?
Well, when I get ready for bed, what I really like to do is get into some comfortable clothes and sit on my bed and read for a little while, and that is just really what I need right before I go to sleep. How about you, Rafe?
I'm kind of partial to a warm bubble bath, and I use a little bit of a medication intervention as well in the form of a glass of red wine. And then you pop open a big old book, something interesting, like something by Tolstoy perhaps, and boom, I am out.
That's it. That's what. So, everyone's routine is going to be different. So you want to be able to think about what is going to be providing that really calming, really relaxing environment for your child.
And so then what about pharmacological interventions? Well, we know there's currently no FDA-approved medications to treat insomnia in children. We also know that from that research in melatonin that there tends to be some, not always, but often a reduction in melatonin. So using a melatonin supplement may be an appropriate first line of approach in terms of thinking about these medication or supplement interventions. However, what we're going to do is we're going to follow Nancy Reagan's advice on this one, and we're going to just say no to those medication supplements until after we've had that medical evaluation and we've put these behavioral systems in place.
Right. So the take-home message here is there really isn't one single effective treatment for sleep in autism.
Right, exactly. There's so many different aspects that are challenging for autism, and so really some approaches do better for some types of challenges. But overall, we seem to know that parent education, the behavioral approaches, and melatonin supplement tend to be the most effective at hitting all of the different aspects of sleep challenges.
All right. Reporting sleeplessly in Seattle. That's it for this blogcast. We'll see you next time.